Hey everybody, Cinema Sickness here with this week's Weekly Watch, where we take a look at all the titles I've watched throughout the week, and I briefly discuss them. So let's take a look at everything I checked out. So the first title I watched this week actually took me all week to get through it, and that was Young Justice. This year coming with Season 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3, which is the first half of the first season. And this show is obviously perfect. And I say obviously because it's a DC animated TV series. And when it comes to DC animated series, they're always done perfectly. They know what they're doing. Ever since things like Batman and Superman, the animated series, they just have not gotten really much of anything wrong. They're just absolutely perfect. I love watching DC animated superhero cartoons. They're just absolutely perfect. And this is no different. This is fantastic from the very beginning. I'm upset that it took me so long to get into this. Just hadn't come across any of these for a good price, and when I finally did, obviously picked them up. And then it took me a little while to get around to watching this, and I'm so glad I finally checked this out because it was just absolutely brilliant. I know I say that all the time, but I can't say that enough about this. The story is great. The characters are great. I love how everything's coming along. Just a great first half of the first season. I do have the second half, which I am going to start watching next, and I cannot wait to get into that because this was just great. So if you like DC animated TV shows like Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, things like Teen Titans, if you love those shows, then this is one you're definitely going to want to check out. One of the things I really like about this is the fact that it incorporates so much of the DC universe. Not only do we have Young Justice, which is just kind of like a young sort of Justice League. People like Kid Flash and Superboy, Miss Manhunter, Robin, just a whole bunch of, kind of sidekicks making their own sort of like a Young Justice League. I love the fact that we also have the Justice League, which incorporates so many DC superheroes, and throughout the series, you're going to just be randomly seeing different characters pop up. I mean, there's one episode in here, for instance, where they're battling this giant, it's this giant plant monster, and the entire Justice League has to go and fight it. It's like this decoy, so they're all going to fight it, and during that scene, they're showing so many different great characters, like Plastic Man and stuff, just all these great DC characters that show up, and it's a really cool wink and nod to comic fans and fans of just the DC universe. It's really, really cool that they show all these different characters all randomly just throughout the series. I mean, they might not play a major part, but they'll pop up every now and then. Sometimes they do play a major part in an episode. Sometimes they just kind of pop up and say hello, basically. But it's really, really cool. So again, if you're a fan of DC animated TV series, this is one you should not miss. The next title I watched this week is definitely one I've been meaning to get around to watching, and that was Nail Gun Massacre, which comes with this really cool VHS re-release here. One of my viewers sent me. This is awesome. It's actually a limited edition and has this really cool red tape. Just wanted to show that off. Love this cool VHS re-release, and I loved this film. This was great. Now, with that being said, was it a bad movie? Yes. It's cheesy. The acting's horrible. The story's just mediocre. It's, by all accounts, it would be a bad movie, but so bad that it's good. It definitely falls under that category, and I was a little leery going into this because the few reviews I have seen on this all sort of really point out the fact that it's bad. And in all fairness, the reviews I have seen on it are kind of making fun of the movie. They're not necessarily saying whether they like it or they don't like it. They're just kind of pointing out how bad it was. So I guess I really shouldn't judge the movie on those reviews. But I was a little weary going into this thinking maybe it's going to be pretty bad. I'm not going to like it. But absolutely not. This was so much fun. I love our killer here. The lines that come out of, I won't say whether it's a man or a woman because that'll give it away if you watch this movie, but the words that come out of its mouth, just some of the cheesiest lines I've ever heard in any movie. And you'll be cracking up laughing every time the killer says whatever they say. Just absolutely funny. I mean, they're these horrible puns. I don't know who wrote this movie. Does it even say, writer and producer, Terry Lofton. So Terry, you wrote some pretty bad lines. And I don't know if you wrote them on purpose, like if you were trying to be super cheeseball, or if you were being serious, but the horrible, awful lines you wrote are awesome. I love them. They're bad. They're really, really bad. But man, they will have you cracking up laughing. They're fantastic. So this movie, again, is a pretty bad movie, but it certainly falls into that so bad it's good category. It's just a great watch from start to finish. So the story is sort of mediocre. It's kind of like a revenge rape movie, sort of. But also, it's like a revenge rape movie mixed with a slasher film. Not like, Last House on the Left or anything like that, but definitely more of a slasher film, more so than a revenge rape movie. But it definitely has a little bit of a revenge rape sort of aspect to it. But just a great, great film all around. I mean, in the sense that it's so bad it's good. But I would recommend checking this one out. If you like super, super cheeseball slasher films, this is one you gotta see. Then throughout the week, I actually watched some 16mm film, and I watched these all sporadically, but I'm going to talk about them all at one time. They're right here. As you guys know, I do have a 16mm projector right there behind me, and I just picked these up this week, so check them all out. And I don't really have much to say about these, as they're just short little films. They're like 5 minutes long each, if that even. So I'm just going to talk about these really, really quick. I did watch them, so I do want to point them out. The first two things I'm going to talk about here are Andy Panda, which is an episode called Pop, and Mouse Movies. This one's called Peg Leg Pete. Now, these are both in the 40s. I think 47, 41, if I'm not mistaken. I could very well be mistaken about that. Pop, just about Andy Panda's Pop, trying to get a house fixed and all the crazy wackiness he goes through with that. It's fun. It's an animated short. I love it. It's great. If you love classic animated shorts, Andy Panda is definitely one to check out. All I gotta say. Same thing pretty much goes with Mouse Movies. This was interesting. I looked up some information on this because when I picked this up, I was like, all right, is the series called Mouse Movies? What's going on here? So I looked it up. It is a little short series of films, and apparently they pretty much completely ripped off Disney with these. From what I've read, they just outright ripped off Disney. I mean, even Peg Leg Pete. I mean, that's Pete from all the Mickey cartoons. So they really, really ripped off Mickey with these, but that works for me. It's fun. It's, again, just a fun animated shorts. That's your thing. This is something to check out. And finally, the last time I watched, which is missing a top, I need to fix that, is Our Gang with an episode called Quiet Please. It's Our Gang. This is from the 20s, actually, so it is silent. In fact, all these are silent, though these two right here, they were originally done in sound, but these are silent. This, I believe, actually was silent. I don't believe this was a sound film ever. Just a short little episode of Our Gang. In fact, it's actually cut down. In fact, these might be too. I'm not 100% sure, but this is actually cut down. It's a much longer episode, but it's cut down to 5 minutes or less. It doesn't have a runtime on it, but it's pretty short. It's all right. It's actually the first Our Gang I've ever seen. I come across Our Gang DVDs all the time. I've never picked one up. I've never watched them. Not that I've anything against Our Gang. I just never bothered to get into them. I've always been kind of interested, but I've never bothered to get into them. So this is the first Our Gang I've ever seen. I enjoyed it. It was okay. It's nothing great. It's just all right, I'd say. But I am interested now picking some more Our Gang up. So next time I come across an Our Gang DVD, I'll be getting it. So Our Gang, okay, but I really can't necessarily 100% judge them, as I am watching a very, very, very cut down, episode of one of their episodes. So again, I really can't judge them on this, but from what I've seen, it's all right, and I look forward to checking out some more. Next, I checked out the fantasy film world of George Pal. This was a great documentary all about George Pal, the man behind War of the Worlds and The Time Machine, and just many, many, many fantastic movies that I'm sure we've all seen. Just a great, very well done documentary that just talks about his life, everything from the very beginnings of how where he grew up to he grew up in I think it was Germany, moved to France, and had to move to the United States. Just everything he went through in his life, from the very beginnings of stop animation he was doing all the way up to getting into feature films. It's a really, really great documentary all about George Pal. I don't really have much more to say about it than that, but I would recommend checking this out. It is actually available on DVD as well. Obviously, this is my Laserdisc copy, but this is something that you should definitely check out if you're really into science fiction movies, because He's done plenty of those. So if you're really into science fiction films, this is something to check out. It's very cool to learn about his life, and you're going to see a lot of great clips and learn a lot of information on some great sci-fi movies. So definitely something I recommend checking out. Like I said, don't have much more to say about it than that. It is just a documentary on George Pal's life, but definitely something you should all see. Then I checked out Bay of Blood, which is definitely a movie I really wanted to see from all the great reviews this film gets. The odd thing about this release, though, is it's from Austria. This is an Austria release. You can get it here in the US, but this happens to be an Austria release. Region B, as it says right on the back, but I could not get this for the life of me to play in my Region B player. Just wouldn't play. I put it in, it would see there was an error. It would not read the disc. Put it in my US Region A Blu-ray player. It read it perfectly. So very, very odd. So if you do happen to get this limited edition release, which is very, very awesome. I love this like clamshell hard case release. Just fantastic. It's number 66 out of 99. There's only 99 of these out there. Very cool to have this. But if you get this release and you don't have a region-free Blu-ray player, well, you can just put in your Region A player, apparently, and it'll play just fine. So, just odd. As far as what I thought about this movie, though, I was disappointed. I just thought it was very mediocre. This movie gets really good reviews. A lot of people out there seem to really, really enjoy this film, and honestly, I just thought it was okay. The first, it starts off all right. There's some pretty cool killings. I'll give this movie that. The killings in this movie are awesome. That might be a reason why some people really like this movie. Very, very, very cool death scenes. The practical special effects, all the deaths in this, very, very well done. So I'll give it that. Really cool deaths. But I think the story's just pretty slow. And like I said, the first maybe half hour of the movie is kind of interesting. The killers go around killing off some teenage kids. Pretty cool. But then after that, it just goes into kind of like this crime mystery slasher film. And it's just, I don't know. I thought the story was just all right. I thought the ending was stupid. You know what? I'm going to give it away. I don't care. Because the ending's so dumb. It's not like you're going to be like blown away by it. The bad guys in this film, the ones who are like wanting to kill everybody off so they can get the property of the property, which is like the lake property they want to get. They succeed in killing everybody off, and they're all excited because they got away with it. And then they're like kids shoot them with a shotgun. Like, what kind of a twist ending is that? There's like no purpose behind that. I mean, unless I'm missing something. Their kids just, at the end of the movie, hey, mommy, bang, dead. It's like, why did you just kill your parents? Like, what kind of a twist ending was that? It just seemed like it was really thrown on. It looks like, I have a feeling the writer and director of this just went, yeah, we need a twist. We need something crazy at the end. Something like Carrie with a hand popping out. Something that's going to really throw our viewers for a loop. I know, let's have the kids that got left back at the trailer. Let's have them just shoot their parents. That'd be awesome. It makes no sense. It's completely tacked on, completely pointless. So the ending of this movie sucks. But like I said, I just thought the movie was very mediocre. I thought the plot was just okay. I wasn't blown away by it. There were a lot of slow parts in this movie that really seemed to drag on for too long. I didn't really care much for any of the characters. I mean, the teenagers in the beginning who got killed off, I was kind of into that, but after that, it just went downhill. The only thing good I would say are the death scenes and the practical special effects. They are very well done. And at least worth watching for that. But all in all, I just thought it was okay. I don't think it quite lives up to the hype it gets. But that's just me. Would I recommend checking it out? I'd say if you're a big, diehard fan of slasher films, it is worth seeing. But if you're not some huge, diehard slasher fan, it's really nothing you got to see. Next title I checked out, can't physically hold up and show you since I saw it in the theater. And that was Thor: The Dark World. Saw it in 3D. This was a great film. As far as the original Thor movie was concerned, I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was anything amazing. It wasn't my favorite. The Marvel movies, I just thought it was all right. Well done, certainly enjoyable, but I wasn't blown away by it. It was, I'd almost kind of say, a little bit forgettable. As after I saw it, I was just kind of like, all right, I saw that. Maybe a few years down the line, I'll watch it again, but nothing I need to see right away. So I just thought it was okay. Whereas the sequel, I think, was A, better done, and B, I think it actually is a great addition to Thor because it's a direct continuation, which I like because now it makes me want to rewatch Thor. It's one of those things where the sequel's so good that I'm going to want to sit down when I go to watch it. I'm going to want to watch Thor and then the sequel. I'm going to want to watch Thor: The Dark World with Thor. It's one big story in my mind. I think it's really, really cool. I certainly like how they keep giving winks and nods to the Avengers movie. I thought that was really cool. But speaking of the Avengers, this, and again, if I'm missing something here, if there was a little throwaway line or something that completely went over my head, please explain this to me. But in this film, it's basically the end of the world's coming. That's the big thing. End of the world. There's 9 realms. They're all gonna be gone basically, and the world's definitely one of those realms. So the world's going bye-bye. Thor's got to save the day. My question is, where are the rest of the Avengers? Where's the Shield? Why aren't they coming to the rescue as well? We're talking the end of the world, not just some bad guy attacking and somebody's got to stop him. Sure, Thor can handle that on his own. We're talking the end of the world. The entire Avengers team should have shown up for this. That seems like a pretty big deal. So I was kind of upset that there didn't seem to be any explanation for why the Avengers never showed up to this end of the world event. I didn't really understand that. Again, maybe I missed a throwaway line. I don't know. I went to see it with my best friend. I even turned to him after the film was over and said something to him about it, and he didn't remember hearing anything about that in the movie either. He didn't remember any throwaway line or any explanation why the Avengers weren't there. So if you could explain that to me, or if you remember a throwaway line or something like that, let me know. But I just didn't get that part. I was like, wow, you're gonna talk about the Avengers a lot in the film, constantly giving little winks and nods to the Avengers film, the fact that Thor was part of the team, and then you're just going to not have them show up. I don't really know. So anyway, that's like the one major thing that bugged me with the movie. But otherwise, I thought it was great. I love Loki in this movie. He was fantastic. His character was just brilliant in this film, and I love the twist ending. That's really cool, which really got me pumped to see a third movie. I hope the third movie is even better, because this seems like, I have a feeling this is one of those series just going to keep getting better and better and better as it goes along. So really enjoy this film. I'd say if you like the first movie, this is definitely worth seeing. As again, I think it was just a little bit better than the first movie. I mean, I wouldn't say it blows the first movie out of the water, but I would definitely say that it improves on the first movie, and I think it was just a little bit better done. So again, I would say if you like the first Thor movie, definitely see The Dark World. It was really, really good. And I cannot wait for the third film now. I'm really excited to see that. It looks like it's going to be a great watch. So again, definitely one I'd recommend seeing. Do you need to see it in 3D? No, I wouldn't say a 3D was anything amazing. I wasn't blown away. In fact, it's one of those films where 15 minutes in the film, you've already forgotten that you're watching it in 3D. I didn't think 3D was really necessary. I saw the movie for free, so it didn't cost me anything to see it in 3D, but it's nothing you need to see in 3D. Is it something you should see in the theaters? That's really hard for me to say, because I don't really think you really need to see any movie in the theater. Personally, I'd rather just sit here on my couch and watch it on my TV with nobody around me to bug me, comfortable laying down and stuff like that. That's just me. But I know a lot of you are theater goers and you like watching movies in the theaters. You like the big, the theater experience with the sounds and everything like that, and the huge screen. This is a movie I would say if you're a theater goer, if you like seeing movies in the theaters, if that's your thing, this is a movie worth watching in the theater. It's, again, great explosions and loud noises and great things up on the screen. Definitely a theater movie. So if you're a theater goer, you've been thinking about seeing this one in the theaters, it is worth seeing in the theaters. I would say if that's your thing. Otherwise, just give it a rent or I'd say even buy it and watch it at home. But again, if you're a theater goer, it is worth checking out in the theater. So again, Thor: The Dark World, definitely worth checking out. Great film. Again, expands and just improves on the first film. And if you like the first film, in fact, even if you didn't really like the first film, you just thought the first film was just mediocre, this is one you should see. You'll probably enjoy it more, and it'll actually, hopefully, if you're anything like me, it'll actually make you enjoy the first film more and think the first film was actually a better film than you initially thought. So definitely see Thor: The Dark World. So after Thor, I had to watch another Marvel movie, and I watched The Amazing Spider-Man. This is another one I've been meaning to watch for some time now. Watch this one in 3D as well. The 3D is pretty cool. Again, nothing you necessarily need to see, but there are some great moments, like, when he's swinging around and stuff, that look pretty cool in 3D. And this was great. I was a big fan of the Tobey Maguire movies. I really did enjoy the Tobey Maguire movies. Thought they were well done, very enjoyable, but this one kind of blows him out of the water. Just as I thought the Tobey Maguire movies were great, this one comes along and just says, no, fuck you, Tobey Maguire. We're going to kick your ass, and it does a great job. Great story. I was really digging this movie. Just great. Love all the characters, love the story, love the they changed things up a bit. They switched things around like a little bit here and there in the traditional Spider-Man story, but they did it well. They didn't do it where it made things cheesy or dumb, or it's going to really piss you off. And I guess if you're a huge stickler for the comics, you might be against it. But I thought that they did a good job not overdoing it. They just did things enough that, yes, things were changed up a little bit. It certainly, differs. The story differs a little bit, and it's definitely a bit of a different story than the comic book and the Tobey Maguire films. But again, it didn't go overboard. It's different, but it's well done. It's tastefully done. It's still going to remind you of the original story, but just tweaked a little bit. And again, I think they did it very, very well. They could have gone and just done a whole different story and changed Spider-Man's origin up completely and switched things around. Then you would have just been rolling your eyes thinking, what the hell am I watching? But the fact that they just tweaked it a little bit to make it its own story is just great and very, very, very well done. So I thought this movie was just fantastic from start to finish. Don't really have anything bad to say about it. If you were a fan of the Tobey Maguire movies, definitely check this one out. You might not be as big a fan after you see this movie, because this was just absolutely great. And I cannot wait for the sequel. I hope it's just as good. I mean, the Tobey Maguire movies, they kind of went downhill. First one was pretty good, then the second one was all right. Third one, not so much. I hope this movie, the series, doesn't do that. I hope this movie stays strong. The series stays strong within the entire franchise. I really hope, because this one, definitely fantastic. So I would recommend check this one out. If you're a Marvel fan, if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you like the Tobey Maguire movies, this is one you gotta see. The next title I watched, once again, can't physically hold up and show you, as I watched this on Crackle.com. And for those of you who do not know, Crackle.com is kind of like Hulu.com. They have movies and TV shows you can watch for free. Pretty cool website. I'd recommend checking it out. This is actually a movie I watched a few years ago on Crackle.com. I watched this. It was a great film. Absolutely loved it. And I was at work, and I didn't have anything to watch. I forgot to bring a movie with me. Forgot to bring a TV series to watch with me. So I needed something to watch. And I thought, I could really go for a documentary. What should I check out? So I went on Crackle.com, looking around, and then all of a sudden, American Movie popped in my head. And that's what I watched. I watched American Movie. And looked on Crackle, and it was still there to watch. So I watched it again. It's my second time watching it. An American Movie is absolutely fantastic. One of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It's all about this guy who is working on this movie. He's doing an independent film called Coven. Not Coven, because Coven sounds way too much like oven. Coven is the name of this this movie he's making. And it's all about just his struggle making this film. And the characters in this movie, everybody from our filmmaker to his friends and his family and everything, that are such crazy characters that the first time I saw this movie a few years ago, I thought I was watching a mockumentary. I did not think this was a real legit documentary. I just assumed it was all scripted and staged. That is not the case. This is 100% a real documentary all about this guy trying to create his independent film and just all the things he has to go through. And it is such a fun watch and such a well done documentary. It is just put together so fantastically well. And like I said, every single character in this movie, who really isn't a character, they're actually real life people, they come off as these just great characters. It's absolutely fantastic. You're going to get wrapped up in their lives. It's great to see the way these people act, and you really get to learn what kind of goes into the making of an independent movie, and how stressful it is, and all the junk you got to go through, and everything from filming to editing to having to refilm stuff to having to dub over things, just all kinds of the insanity that goes into this film, and eventually pulling it off. And just a great watch again from start to finish. Absolutely brilliant. If you're in this, I can't even say if you're in anything. If you're into movies, this is something you should watch. If you like film at all, which I'm assuming you do if you're watching this video, American Movie is something you have to see, as you can really see what goes into filmmaking. And I don't mean Hollywood filmmaking. I mean independent filmmaking. It's just such a well done documentary. If you make independent films, I'm sure you've already seen this, but if you haven't, definitely one to check out. I'm sure it'll really, really speak to you. So just, again, one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. Just absolutely fantastic. everybody needs to see this movie. Everybody who likes films needs to see American Movie. That's all I can say. I can't recommend this enough. Just absolutely fantastic. So everybody, see American Movie. And finally, the last title I watched this week was Down to Earth. It's just a mediocre comedy. It's nothing amazing. Again, very, very mediocre. Would I recommend it? If you're interested in checking it out, sure, definitely watch it. It wasn't a bad film. I certainly did enjoy it. It's just nothing amazing. Nothing you're going to watch over and over and over again. You'll watch it once and probably be done with it. The reason why I really wanted to watch this right away, because I actually I bought it and watched it in the same day, and the reason for that being is because I couldn't remember if I've actually seen this movie or not. I knew I've seen all these bits and pieces of it, as there were certain things about this film I remembered, but I couldn't remember if I've actually seen it from start to finish. After watching it, I realized I had. I'd seen the whole movie all the way through before, probably watched on television once before. So again, it is mediocre. I really don't have much to say about it. It's Chris Rock. There are a few funny moments in it, but for the most part, it's just a mediocre film about Chris Rock dying and coming back to Earth and trying to get this girl. That's really it. There's not much more to say about it than that. So really all I can say is that this seems like a movie you're interested in checking out. If you've been thinking about watching it, it is worth a watch. I'll say that. Definitely worth a watch if this seems like your type of film, but it's nothing you need to see. So there you go, guys. That's everything I checked out this week. Definitely watched some fantastic titles. Definitely a good week. Watched a lot more than I normally watch, actually. Made a few more titles that I normally do during the week. So that's great. The more movies I can get in, the better. So like I always say, guys, if you like this video, please give me a like. If you're not already subbed, please do. So that is it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. See ya.